I know. Who are you expecting? Because today it's me. I get to spend time with you again. You're like, didn't you just do this a couple of times? Like, am I going to have to do this with you all the time? Oh my gosh. You got to have fun in your business, right? And if you know me by now or you've been listening to me by now, then you know that we like to have a lot of fun. And if you haven't, and this is your first time that we're meeting each other, well, nice to meet you. Welcome to the Mission Accepted show. So occasionally, you get to have me as your guest and as your host because we talk about all things business, all things taking mission, all things, that we have to accept. There you go, mission accepted. You know what we're going to talk about today? So, the conversation around the world has been lately about business expansion. And for young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that have been doing this for a while, we're very aware of the fact that we live in a world of opportunity. And if you are an opportunity entrepreneur where it comes to you, you seek it out or it comes to you, it's because you live in this incredible state of optimism and hope. I always say that, people are like, oh, what's your most common emotion? And I'm like, I think it's optimism. I think I need to go to a 12-step program for someone who keeps seeing hope and opportunities because they come flooding. And as soon as you start to make movement in your business and make structure in your business and actually start to have a lot of success, and people see that that energy is going to go outwards, and you're going to be probably flooded with all these really cool, incredible opportunities. Now, those opportunities can play into your business expansion. A lot of people would call it business. Now, I want to make it clear business growth is when you're growing your company, it's growing. It could be growing in numbers, growing in sales, growing in, impressions, growing in finance, hopefully your ROI. That kind of growth is growth in a company. What I'm talking about is when you decide to expand, and you can expand in a number of different ways. You can build a new division, you can add another piece to your company that is same or not same, or you can actually evolve by having a really successful business and or having a business or what your company is, and then deciding to make a complete shift. And that's interesting. All of them are interesting for yourself and sometimes for the feedback that you get. Now, as someone who's had a career of entrepreneurship, if someone was to ask me, the different things that I've done and defined me in those different roles, they would see what I do now as very different as to what I did when I started. And there has been people that go, wow, you do so many things. And what I say to them is that I do what I do right now, and everything that I've done before has has laid the path. Most people don't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to do it this year, and this year. There is a growth that happens from being an entrepreneur that by nature, people don't really recognize. And it's interesting because when someone works at a company, right? Let's just use a bank for an example, because we all know what one of those are. So someone might start off in customer service or loving doing the bank teller. And then the next thing you know, they move into a different role. And that role could be managerial. And then they could be like, the community manager, and then they go to a regional manager, then they go to a national manager, then they go to VP, and they go up one stream. Each role is very, very, very different. It might be done in one house or one institution, but that can happen for you in your business as well. You will evolve. You will evolve, and that next roll up could be a division, or you actually are no longer the VP of this bank. You're VP of I don't know, like a pet company or a beverage company. And someone's like, wow, that's completely different. It's not really different. You're taking the skills with you, you're taking your experience with you, you're taking your interactions with people with you, and it could be in a completely different division. Or someone who's VP of a bank completely goes over and starts their own mechanics company. People are like, oh my gosh, that's so different. What would make you go from one to another? But actually, it's an evolution. It's an evolution of probably your mindset. It's an evolution of your personal development. Maybe you tapped into something that you were like, oh my gosh. And everything that you learned over there will carry forward. That is just, that's expectancy. That's what's going to happen. And we know it in our personal development, right? We evolve into who we are from where we came from and where we aspire to go. But what are some of the things that you can, what are some of the things that you can navigate that? That's what I want to share with you today, because there's going to be that internal dialogue that happens and that external dialogue. So for those of you that are looking to expand, right? You might say to yourself, I want more money in my business, right? But to have more money in my business means that I need to hire this person or bring in this person or add on a new skill. And then you come up against, well, I don't have the resources to go do what I need to do to bring in more resources. That's a little bit of a different story. That's where you want some coaching, some assisting. You want to figure that out, because really growth rarely happens in the confines of your own mind. Like if you want to multiply and duplicate, there's going to be some things that you have to do. At least in my experience and working with people, you're going to have to cart before the horse many, many times as an entrepreneur. That's where the risk that comes in. That's where the financial risk, that's where you doubling down. That's where you taking things on. But if you really want to expand, at some point, you're going to have to break through your own glass ceiling. And that's one of the reasons why people become an entrepreneur. They're like, I don't want a glass ceiling, but you are shocked, and you would be shocked at how many times we put that glass ceiling on ourselves, or we feel like we can't break past it. And we've got all these very legitimate reasons why not. You need to grab somebody, whether it's a coach or a friend or a fellow colleague that has surpassed that and figured out what they did to do that, because that's the part of evolving your business. Now, there might be something where there's an opportunity to really expand what you do already or bring something else in, like another division. And people are like, oh my gosh, Deb, you've had many divisions. I, right now, in the company that I have, Mission Accepted, probably have 5 different divisions. And they're like, oh my gosh, how can you handle that? And how can you afford it? Well, I want you to realize that when you do one thing, you do multiple things. Whether you activate that or not is up to you. But if I'm having a relationship with my, accountant or my bookkeeper or my CFO, which I have, or my marketing manager, right? So if I'm marketing manager, or the woman who does my assisting, or my social, or what have you, it doesn't matter if the person I've hired for my social media sends out 3 posts today on the podcast, or 3 posts today, and one's about the book we're doing, one's about the podcast we're doing, or one's about an event that we have coming up at the next summit. So many times the people that you have in roles, or those people that are going to be coming into roles, can just do their role differently, but it's the same person. I have 5 divisions, but I don't have 5 CFOs, 5 CMOs, 5 assistants, right? So you get to multiply and duplicate that. And there is an old philosophy of don't spread yourself too thin, right? But if you look at everything as one thing, you're not. Personally, I enjoy the variety. Personally, after you've been in business for a while, your brain's going to start to want to create some new things, right? So when we decided to do journals, we did 9. I'm like, this is a creative process. This is super fun. Let's give people a variety. So we have journals. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And some of you may not even know that we have journals, because we have other things that we do that you're interested in. But you know that going in, when you start to add new divisions, not everyone's going to buy your journal. Not everyone's going to come onto your podcast. Not everyone's going to come into your, hire you as a coach or take your top performance class. But you are giving a service. And what does that service entail? So it's not going to be 2 times the more the work, or 3 times more the work, or 4 times more the work. It will be more additional things that you need to add to your plate, and that you need to infrastructure yourself for. I don't say go from 1 thing to 5, right? Unless you plan on working some extra hours. But it's fun when you're expanding and you're adding growth to your business. It is evolving, and it keeps you, I personally think, people that I work with, that my clients, they get excited again. Like there's something new that you can bring. Now let's talk about when you decide to completely evolve, right? I was having a great conversation with a woman yesterday who's in a little bit of a limbo, right? She's very successful. She's been very successful for 20 years and she had this company, and she's shifting, and she's in that, what she called painful. And I understand what she's talking about. She's in that painful place where she doesn't know where she's going to evolve into. So there's a couple of things that can happen. One is she had to decide, right? Because many times you attach your identity to what you do. And that's sometimes why it's difficult to step back and shift. You're like, yeah, but I'm a this. People know me as a this. You'll say it. You're like, oh, people know me as someone who's in media. People know me as the founder of 262. And as long as you understand that that's the role that you are and not who you are, that's going to make it easier if you're going to shift into another direction, because it's truly where you go, you follow. Right? Where you go, you follow. So you did this then, and now you're going to do this now because it feels right. It sounds right. It looks good on paper. It's whatever you need to tell yourself to make that shift. And I can tell you, it's really interesting. I just launched a new website and I hope that you go to it. And I had a vast career in holistic health, 27 years. I actually worked on 30,000 clients. I loved my work. I went into the office and it was filled with crystals and aromatherapy and super cool staff that were doing the same thing that I was doing. Not a bad gig. People actually pay to go to spas to have that environment. I had it every single day for multiple years. And I remember when the decision came to shift that work, right? Now it was all about wellness and optimizing people's wellness to its peak. Well, isn't that interesting? I now do top performance and teach people how to do media to its peak. So there is a relationship there, but someone could look at my website and go, wow, like, do you still do all these treatments? Do you still do all these things? And what we decided to do is put something like, this is what Deb did do, right? This is part of Deb's evolution. This is where she took people to optimum states of health. And I still believe to be in an optimum state of wealth and top performance in your business, particularly as an entrepreneur, you better pay attention to your health. And so there is a tie through. I don't do those treatments anymore, but it's there that represents a large portion of my career and the philosophy and the methodology, right? Same like the going from the bank to owning a business, right? I'm sure there's some methodology that they learned. So sometimes you can take that along. One of the things that I would say is if you come up against, wow, you do so many things, right? Sometimes when you hear that, it makes you feel smaller, not bigger. It's interesting, right? No one says it in a derogatory manner. It's kind of like when they say this word that we're not allowed to say in our team. So when someone says, "Oh my gosh, you're so busy," and they say it like they feel bad for you. And I think, well, as an entrepreneur, as a business, isn't that one of our goals? Isn't our goals to be? And so I say, oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. It is so abundant over here. And they're like, wow, nice reframe. And I'm like, well, I bet I'd rather be tired than bored. You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, we're in business. Wouldn't it be, our staff meeting this week, wouldn't it be kind of, if we were sitting around going, oh my gosh, what are we going to do to get busy? Like no one's calling, our marketing's not working, our messaging's not working. We sit around and go, how are we going to deal with the expansion? Like when we go into this country, how are we going to prepare for that? So I think it's really a reframe for yourself as well. And for those of you that have had that methodology, I certainly had that methodology, and it was a part of my entrepreneurial journey where people like, if you focus on one, you benefit on one. If you focus on one, you benefit on one. And if that is true for you, if that's where you peak in your highest good, if doing one thing feels fantastic, then don't feel bad that you're not participating in this conversation, that you're not expanding, that you don't have one division or two division or five divisions. But if you want to or actually move into a whole other world and it's calling you, then go. Don't feel afraid to go. Don't feel afraid of people like, oh, what's she doing now? You know what I mean? I know people when I had, when I was in the really strong, I do a lot of training in the direct sales sector, and someone would decide to go from one company to another, and their fear would be like, what are people going to think? I'm like, oh, girlfriend, we only live 3 generations. Who cares? Like, but it was for them, it was like, yeah, but then they don't think I'm serious. I'm like, you're in the same sector. You're not going, you're an entrepreneur that's going from here to here. You're a business owner that's going from here to here. Even if you were a business owner that went from here to corporate, it doesn't matter. It's your joy. It's your passion. It's your path. It's your expansion. It's where you're supposed to go. You hear so many people go, I intuitively knew I needed to go 3 years ago. You're like, that's 36 months. Do you know what I mean? That's 36 months. That's over 1,000 days that you kind of had an inkling to go over there. But sometimes it takes that long for us to convince ourselves it's going to be okay. So this is your formal permission slip. You know what I mean? Like this is your permission slip that you get it, that if you want to bring in a new division, go for it. If you want to bring in a new division that doesn't match what you do now, good for you. Like good for you. Like we are creative beings. Add to it what you want to do. Look at some of the things that people do, right? You know, we had these iconic actors and actresses that would never think of doing an ad. Look at what they do. You've got actors and actresses that are speaking, running podcasts, you know, on shows. They have fashion lines, they have makeup lines, they have jewelry lines. I mean, it is the world of entrepreneurship. And some of them are completely different. They have businesses that don't even attach themselves to being a celebrity. So I just want to give you permission to go through that. Don't worry too much about what people think. But when you are going to make that change and you are going to have to do a whole different set of maybe business plans or plannings, or plan for the success. Plan for the success. Hang out with people that have done what you're doing because it is a different infrastructure when you start to add more than one thing on. No, I don't have five people that do the same thing. I have one person that does different things. You know, you're gonna push your team into being a little bit of entrepreneurial with the work that they do for you, but do infrastructure, have your strategic plan. I mean, that's what I do. Top performance strategic plan. I'm happy to help. Or if you have someone in your life, you do need to plan for that multiple conversation because you're going to have to break your day out a little differently. You're going to have to expand your day out a little differently. If you go into international waters, you're going to have to work out a different time zone, right? They're not going to work on your hours. You're going to work on them. All the things that you know as a fun, creative, I got this, I'm going for it entrepreneur. It's going to add some extras until you can make those extras part of your everyday. So that being said, I think I could summarize this up by be brave. You know, be brave, be good with it. It doesn't matter what people say. And when they say things to you like, oh my gosh, you're so that B word, you can take mine and say, it is so abundant over here. It's incredible. Or if they're like, man, you do so many things, go, lucky me, lucky me. And if that bothers you that you do so many things or you have that kind of brain, I would say one thing. So many people have said that to me over the years. And I used to felt like I had to defend myself and like, yeah, but, and as soon as you go to say, yeah, but stop, right? Because now you're defending yourself. Now I just say thank you. And I say, you know, it's really interesting. It's the same as my son. And you can use a different artist. You don't have to use, you know, but, you know, my son paints so many different types of art. He does landscaping, he does tattoo, he does fashion designing for clothes. And as a creative, he does so many different things. It's incredible to be the same in my business because nobody goes up to an artist and goes, excuse me, your landscape. Really, you've been landscape. What's this about? Like, what's this new thing about? They love it, they enjoy it, they embrace it. So if you have an inner creative and it's called an entrepreneur, then honestly, go for it, own it, and win from it. So be brave. Thank you for spending time with me. If you don't know what we do and this is your first time, you're like, what the heck? There's lots of really cool, groovy things that we do. You can go to debdrummond.com. There's more than one thing there for you to go and check out. But we hope you join us again on another show. If you want to be a guest on a show, if you want to be on our stage, oh my goodness, check out our TV show. If you'd like to have your own TV show, we can have that conversation. If you need some help and support in anything that I shared about today or anything you're doing in your business, there's a division of my business where I get to spend some private time with cool people like you, and I'm happy to help. So until we meet again, and however we meet again, you be well and you stay groovy. Bye for now.